welcome back. In our second video of Are You a Desktop Warrior, we are now going to cover the foam roller and lower cross syndrome. We are now going to use the foam roller to decrease our tissue density so that we can get more out of the following exercises. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be foam rolling the hip flexors. We're going to follow that up with the isiotibial band, and then we're going to follow that up by focusing on the glute medius and piriformis. When you foam roll, there's a couple different ways to do it. There's one method, you can go up and down the tissue 20 to 40 times. There's also another method where you find a tender spot and you sit on it for 15 to 40 seconds. For our purposes and what we're using this for, we're going to go up and down the tissue 20 to 40 times because we're doing this before our workout. So our first movement, we're going to have to get down on the ground. I'm going to use this part of the foam roller, and I'm going to focus on from right here at the top of my hip, and I'm going to go down about 7 or 8 inches down my thigh. I'm going to go up and down this area, which is around my hip flexor. I'm going to go up and down, and I'm going to start to move to the side. Now I'm going to go forward and back about 20 to 40 times fairly fast. So it'll look something like this. When I get down all fours, I have my knee down over here to give myself some support, my elbows down, and I have my abs squeezed to give myself some spinal support. And I'm just going to go up and down, just like this. Nothing crazy, and I'm slowly going to turn. And I'm looking for some tender spots, and if I do find a more tender spot, I'll focus on that area. And that's all I'm going to do. Our next area we're going to focus on is going to be the isiotibial band, which travels down the side of our leg. So we're just going to go up and down. I will warn you, this tends to be very sensitive on almost everybody, so you have to baby step this, take your time, and go easy. When you first set up, put your elbow down, give you some support. Put this arm down in front of you to give you more support. The leg that you're going to foam roll, have that leg straight, your other leg have in front of you, and put some weight on this to give you more support. And again, I'm just going to go up and down 20 to 40 times. Now as you can notice, I'm only going up and down maybe 4 or 5 inches. I'm going to break this up in sections versus traveling all the way down and all the way up. So I'm just going to move like this. 20 to 40 times, then I'll go a little farther down, 20 to 40 times, and then I'll go a little farther down. Just like that. The last area we're going to focus on for lower cross syndrome is going to be our glute medius piriformis. When you do this, there's a couple different ways. We're going to start with the very beginner method. You can just lean to one side and just go up and down the outside of your butt, kind of right on the edge. Just go up and down, and sometimes that's enough to get the job done. If you feel a little tenderness, it's doing its job. It does not have to be painful. Just 20 to 40 times. If you don't feel like you're getting in there enough, what we need to do is get the medius out of the way and focus more on the piriformis. So one way to do that is straighten out this leg a little bit, bring this leg across. Now go up and down the tissue. 20 to 40 times again. Now if you want to get in there a little more, you can always pull this up and lean into it and put more of a bend in this knee, and that's going to put a lot more pressure on the tissue, and again 20 to 40 times. Now that we're done with foam rolling, we have decreased the tissue density, and we are now ready to do our static stretching. First stretch we're going to focus on is going to help correct the shortened hip flexors, which is going to help us with our lower back. So first, get a pad. Don't just do this on the floor because it will hurt your knee. The first thing we do is we're going to get down to one knee. There are a lot of variations to this stretch. For this one I'm showing you today, all I want you to focus on is one, starting with your foot a little bit out and then squaring up into this position. This is going to help this area get more out of the stretch. Okay? Now, if you can come to the side, what I'm going to show you is how to do this and how not to do this. Most people, when they do this stretch, they start leaning forward like this. This is all wrong. Now, is that a good stretch? Yes, but we are not trying to stretch those muscles. We're stretching different ones. So I want you to think about this. It's all about the glutes, okay? So when you do a stretch, I want you to think about squeezing your butt forward, pushing your hips forward, just like this. So it's not about this, it's about this, okay? So I'm going to start with my foot out. I'm going to get in this position, chest up high. Now I'm going to squeeze my glutes forward. I'm squeezing this glute. I'm already beginning to feel the stretch here. Now I want to take our time, hold this for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then I'm going to lift my arm up. I'm now elongating all this tissue. I'm feeling more of a stretch here. I'll hold this for another 5 to 10 seconds, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little twist. Now it's very important to keep squeezing your glutes during this entire time because it's going to add more to this stretch. If you relax your glutes, you will not get all the benefits out of this stretch. You want to do this stretch for about 30 to 45 seconds each side. So now we're going to do another little stretch to our glutes. We're going to focus on the piriformis. There are some stretches you might have seen. One of them like this, where you get down, you bring your knee across, and you sit down. And sometimes you'll feel that stretch in your glutes, piriformis. A lot of times it builds a lot of pressure up in the knee. So I'm going to show you a more basic stretch. You're going to get in a quadruped position on all fours. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch this glute. So I'm going to bring this foot over, and it's going to be right behind my knee. And all I'm going to do is I'm now going to lean into this direction and then sit back. And I'm going to hold this for 30 to 45 seconds. So to give that another look, Mike, if you want to come behind me. To give that another look, here's how it looks. One, my knees and my feet same length. One is not farther up than the other. And I'm just going to throw, again, one knee behind, make sure it stays in here. I'm going to lean my hips into that direction and then sit back. At this point, we have now foam rolled hip flexors, iliotibial bands, piriformis. We have stretched our hip flexors and piriformis. The one thing you cannot stretch is your iliotibial band.